Big smile. Everyone can see you now. You know what I'm going to do? Get your phone out. Make sure it's on down volume. No one can ring you. Put it in front of you, and that way they can see. All right, let's get our mic up for a special guest. I want to introduce Factor show right on RWPFM, the Peninsula. Theo Panagiotopoulos from Victorian Physiotherapy. And also, this first hour has been brought to us by Victorian Physiotherapy Frankston. Theo Panagiotopoulos, thank you so much, and welcome to the show. Aha, I can't hear you. Give me a minute. All right, let's test your mic.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Actually, we should use some headphones. Is there a pair of headphones there for you? Guys, do you know how tall he is? Like, seriously, guys, he is so tall. Now,
Beautiful.
Michael, can you hear yourself?
I can hear myself.
This is fantastic. All right, I've got to do one more little thing before I get you on, only because we had such a muck up before. All right. Now, once again, thank you so much for joining me live, and thank you for bringing us our first hour. Thank you. You're so young. You're so tall. Tell me, Michael, I just want to know, at any point in time, were you a footballer?
That's a great question. I was actually. I reckon I played footy for about at least a good 10 years.
Oh, wow.
I did try my luck at soccer as most Greeks do.
Yeah.
But I found that I could use my skills in other areas and probably excelled a bit more in footy. So, but now working as a physio doesn't really get the chance to play anymore, unfortunately. But yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, guys, I did take a photo, and he was so tall, and I was so short. What are some of the biggest misconceptions about physiotherapy?
So I think a lot of people, when they hear physiotherapy or going to see a physio, they think it's mostly about things like massage or some hands-on stuff to make you feel better. And I think a lot of people think that that's what makes you feel better in the end. But we know through decades and decades of research that the massage is just such a small piece of the puzzle. What I see a lot in my practice is, let's say you've got a gentleman who's hurt his back in the gym. He's really fearful of some movement, can't really bend over to put his shoes on, to pick up maybe his kids off the floor, things like that. Things like massage are really great in the short term, almost like a Band-Aid, but we know that it's the rehabilitation in the gym. So the reason why physios give out exercises is because we know that long term, it's things like exercise that will help you getting back to basically your full strength and getting back to being fully fit, doing the things that you love doing. So it's so much more than just massage being a physio. It's about learning how to move properly. It's about feeling confident in your movement, doing things that aren't going to hurt you in the future, learning about safe movement. I think physio is more than just about coming in for a massage. It's really a holistic approach to treat you rather than just focusing on that little part of the injury.
Well, I'm going to share a true story here. Because now, for those that are watching on the screen, yes, I'm facing this way, but it's just because of our cameras. Next time I'll fix it. So the true story here is most of my audience that follow week in, week out know that I've got rheumatoid arthritis. They know I've got osteoarthritis in my knees. They know I've got meniscus tears, and the left one far worse than the right. And they also know that both my knees are bone to bone. Now, due to rheumatoid arthritis and the medication I'm on, I can't do the gel. So, which my orthopedic surgeon would like to do, because it does mean that I have to stop one of the drugs which actually keeps my heart from getting inflamed. So that's a no-go zone. And the other issue we have is I'm too young to have both my knees replaced at this point in time. Now, to get to that point, I was in extreme pain, so much pain I couldn't walk, I couldn't go up and down the stairs, I couldn't sleep. It got that much. That's why I had to end up at the orthopedic surgeon. Tracking now a year later, It has been a very difficult
Hmm.
journey,
Hmm.
but I am working with physiotherapists and a
Awesome.
dietitian.
Great.
So together, what we're doing is strengthening a lot of muscles around my knees, up and down my legs. We're also working on my upper body as well. And many people might say, "But you're so much pain, this and that." It actually is working.
Yep.
So
There you
I
go.
can say that because you're not my physiotherapist.
Correct.
It's actually under my health insurance.
Yep.
Medibank Private has provided that for me. It's something called Better Knees, Better Something,
Awesome.
Wellbeing. So it is a program. But I thought it's important to raise this because when we're talking about physiotherapy, the misconceptions, and I see a holistic approach,
Yeah.
there are things that we can do that we need to do. And many might say, well, you're not overweight, but I am overweight for my body build
Sure.
and my bone structure.
Sure.
And that weight puts pressure on my knees. And then when you look at people, women in my age
Yep.
group, because of
Yep.
menopause and that sort of thing, we do add up getting a little bit bigger in our tummy areas and around our thighs, and that's just something we cannot control. Um, so that's why, again, add that as well to the equation. I'm working with a dietitian
Awesome.
to try and help, and it is actually helping me.
That's great.
I've had setbacks because I've
It's
been
normal.
told, don't pick up your grandkids. Some of them are very heavy. And I did do one day, as you would as a yaya, and I paid the price. So
Oh
now
no.
I kind of know it takes 2 weeks. At the start, it would take about a week and a half.
Yep.
But I'm guessing now because they're getting heavier, it took me 2 weeks to get back to be able to walk again
Yep.
without limping.
Yep.
So for those that see me limping, then I've done something I shouldn't have done. What are the most common issues you're seeing right now?
It's a great question. I think a lot of what I see in my private practice is people who work maybe desk jobs, so they're sitting down for most of their day, your typical 9 to 5 office worker, and they're sitting in these positions where maybe they're hunched over or slumped over and not really getting on their feet much throughout the day, and they can develop really, really bad upper back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, even lower back pain is now really common, and we see it in most people. And I suppose the biggest issues are is that outside of their work, they're too tired to do a lot of exercise when they get home. Maybe they want to come home and unwind with their kids or their wife or their partner, and that's perfectly okay. But a lot of what physiotherapy can do for people like this is education around maybe taking some breaks. So maybe rather than sitting at your desk for a couple of hours at a time, every half an hour, stand up, make yourself a cup of water, a cup of tea or something in the kitchen, go for a bit of a stroll around the office, giving your body a chance to move out of those positions that are going to hurt you for a little while. I touched also on posture. A lot of people don't really think about, how their desk's set up. So maybe some things that physios will give tips is having your laptop at maybe eye level so you're not looking down. It's making sure that your keyboard and your mouse are at good positions so you don't get things like tennis elbow, which funnily enough, most people that get it aren't actually tennis players. So things like that is what physios can also help you to achieve. I think most people don't really realize that. Another thing as well on the flip side is we get a lot of people who work in labour jobs. You look at your typical trading, and they're super fit and active, and they're always lifting things up, and they're putting things away. But someone like that who has a lot of repetitive movements and doing over strenuous activity, that can also lead to problems too. And you might think, well, this person's already doing a lot of exercise. Wouldn't more exercise have been doing them a detriment, so making them feel worse? And well, it's not always the case. Sometimes it's about coming up with certain exercises that are going to put them in positions where they get some pain relief. So maybe it's some stretching, maybe it's targeting some muscles that aren't really firing the way that they're supposed to. And again, this ties back into the massage. You've got someone who's coming in, they're really, really sore. You give them a nice little massage, you hit those areas that needed to be hit. That allows them to continue with their pain-free exercise and get them back into doing your rehab. And it's a really, really good positive feedback loop. And we've seen it times and times again. It leads to better outcomes when you want to buy in and you want to try and make these changes and be fit.
That's really good. I'm glad that you said all that. And the other thing I want to touch on, because I actually do work from home.
There you
I
go.
do go to the office, but working from home can get into one of those ruts.
Mm.
So when it comes to adding exercises, I do have little stickers around the place.
I think it's-
I've I copied some pictures of the exercises and I stuck them in certain
It's
areas of the
great.
house where I've got to do them, because it's not a problem.
Yep.
Because otherwise you get into this routine and then it's like, oh my goodness, I can do it.
Yep.
There's some that I've got to do on my bed. So before I go to sleep and when I wake up, so I've
It's
got them
awesome.
next to me. So it's
Yeah.
right there. Like, don't forget to do your exercises. Um, are there everyday habits that might be holding people back physically without them realizing it? Now, I know you just touched on many.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
there other sort of habits that we need to touch on?
Yeah, I think other habits could, as we said, maybe you're spending a lot of time looking down. So people that use their phones quite a lot of the time, maybe they're sitting on the couch after a long day at work and they're constantly looking down like this. We see it. It's got a name for it now. Text neck. It's so super common. Um, I think another factor as well is people don't really look at their physical health from other standpoints. What I mean by that is, for example, we know that neck and shoulder pain, about 40% of your pain can be reduced if you actually do work on things like stress, sleep, and diet. And I think a lot of people don't really realize or understand that pain is dictated by more factors than just maybe damage or putting yourself in these painful positions. We have to look at things like your mental well-being. What sort of foods are you eating? How's your inflammation going? Are you getting enough sleep? Is stress affecting your life? And so I think some of these habits that people do without realizing is maybe they're not getting more than 6 or 7 hours of sleep. Maybe they're only getting five. Maybe they're staying in the office. They're doing overtime every day of the week, and they've got all these projects. And I understand that these things can't really be helped, but I think when you start to understand that pain comes from more than one standpoint of just pure damage, it becomes easier to manage.
That's
And
right.
I think it also manages people's expectations. And if someone thinks, why am I not getting better? I've done some massage and some exercise. They start to look at these other aspects, and it kind of makes them understand. And we've also found that when you understand, your pain does get better and your function does improve ultimately.
Who inspired you to become a physiotherapist?
Look, if I'm being honest, obviously, as we said, being a footballer, I hurt myself quite a few times. I broke a few ribs, a few fingers, dislocated the shoulder. Um, I had a great physio at the time, and it sort of put me in the mindset of maybe trying to pursue a career in that field. Um, but I suppose in the last few years, being around people like my grandparents, who as they get older and they age, they sort of lose their ability to do things. For example, my yaya walk at the moment, she's always in a lot of pain, bad osteoarthritis in her
Yes.
knees. Um, Seeing how physio's helped her, because she sees a physio too, seeing how physio's helped her has sort of made me realize that physios can really, really impact and shape a lot of people's lives. And I suppose that just pushed me into this field. And I see it in my aged care patients as well. Like physiotherapy has been such a great help in their life, and it just makes them feel good. It gets them back to doing what they want to be doing, socializing, being with their family.
I like that. Theo, I want to ask you, last year I met you through the mentorship
Yes.
through the Greek Australian society that does
Yes.
the mentoring in Melbourne and in Sydney, and they're also now breaking it to Adelaide.
Yep.
Are you going to be part of the mentorship program this year?
I don't think I will be doing it this year. I've started my own business, so I'm hoping to probably put a bit more time into that. Um,
And that's Victorian
and that's
Physiotherapy
Victorian
in Frankston, yes?
Physiotherapy. Right? Yeah, yeah, that's
Fantastic. So
yeah,
starting a new business, obviously there's an option there for young people that are
absolutely,
in secondary, high school, university,
absolutely,
or secondary to do work experience.
absolutely there is. And I encourage if you've got an interest in physiotherapy, by all means, please reach out. We'd love to have you shadow me. And it doesn't just lead to, it's not just the secondary students as well. Maybe it's physio students in university and they're not sure what it's like to work in a private setting. So I invite everybody and anybody who'd like to know what it's like to be a physio. Please shoot me a message, send me an email. I'm happy to have you around to shadow.
Oh, that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. What's something you can say to those that are listening right now? Something inspiring while I have a look to see
I
what people have to
think
say to you
I
through the
think
live chat.
I think use it or lose it is a really common phrase we like to say in physiotherapy. It doesn't matter how old or young you are. It's never too late to start physio and getting on top of your health, and you will feel better. That I can guarantee you.
Yeah, thank you so, so
No,
much.
thank you.
Tim Nicolidis is saying a very smart, bright young man. Maria
Oh,
Tiolis,
thank you, Tim.
Adelaide represent.
Thank you, Maria.
Never met a better spoken man than young Theo, and that was Christos Gerostamopoulos.
Thank you, Christos.
Okay. Great insights. I love seeing the impact physio has on recovery and quality of life, and that's from Ella.
Thank you, Ella.
And Bandelis. Oh, Bandelis is watching. Nathan Higo, hang on. What else we got here? Tim, I definitely recommend Victorian service is more than just a one-off treatment. He genuinely provides ongoing support, caring, helping you stay on track long after your appointment. Thank you so much. That's from Tim.
Thank you, Tim. I hope your shoulder's doing better.
And Tony says, so Tony's from Sydney, his whole family, my wife is suffering badly with her frozen arm and shoulder pain for a while now. She can't even lift her left arm at all properly. She's using her right arm more often now. She lives on painkillers.
It's a hard condition, frozen shoulder, but tell your wife just to stick it through because it does get better, and we know it does get better.
Paris says it's very informative.
Thank you, Paris.
Francesco, very well spoken.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody. So on the social media platforms, on my TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, I will share the Victorian Physiotherapy details and Theo's name, so you'll be able to reach out personally. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Roula.
And thank you for coming into the studio. You'll have to make your way out just with the green button. Thank you. And I'm sure I'm going to catch up to you again.
Have a great night. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
Thank you so much. That was